Hello everyone and welcome. MovieManCHAD here with my final movie review of the year 2017 and my official last consistent movie review right here on my YouTube channel. I will still have a presence here on YouTube. I still love talking about film, and maybe from time to time if there's a movie that I really loved, I might do a surprise movie review about it, hopefully with a friend or family member. And I still collect Blu-rays and talk about films, and I plan to enjoy going to the movies, but I'm not going to do a movie review for every movie that I see in the theaters as of after this video. I've been doing this for 6 years and I've loved it, enjoyed it, and went to the theater, reviewed every one movie, wonderful movie or terrible movie or awful movie that I saw or good movie that I saw. I would come back here and I would review it, I would talk about it, and they were all kinds of genres. I love all kinds of films. I love talking about all kinds of films, and so I will continue to do that. But there are more important things in my life that are happening, and I want to be a part of them in my personal life, and I want to enjoy them as much as I can. So I'm not leaving my channel entirely, but I'm not going to do movie reviews consistently anymore. So hopefully you enjoy my final one. This one is a very unique one because I've seen this movie twice. And the first time I saw this film, I had a terrible experience. You can watch that video, or maybe I'll put that video in a link down below. But I really wanted to see this movie again and give my official review about it. Luckily, the movie has been out for a while. It's kind of dying down. It is the biggest movie of 2017, probably one of the most polarizing movies ever made. And my mom wanted to go see it, and so I saw it with my mom, and we saw. She's not here right now. She loved it, by the way. I want to point that out, that she loved the film. But I had some concerns about it because of my terrible experience watching the movie. And I really wanted to see it officially and finally find out what my true feelings are. My feelings about this film the feelings that I had when I first saw the movie, or did I need to see it one more time and review on my channel and talk about it and get it out of my system and see it again, see if I at least like it? Because after watching it the first time, I had some major issues. What am I talking about? Of course, the title of this video is the review of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I did not see in this 3D, thankfully. The only distraction that I kind of had was a guy sitting next to me that seems like he was heavy breathing all the time. Maybe he was out of shape, or maybe he was sleeping, I don't know. But I sat there and with hardly any distractions, sat there and watched for the second time, though it felt like the first. There were scenes watching this movie that I felt like didn't remember that, or I don't remember seeing that, or maybe that's when the 3D went out and I missed that scene. So watching The Last Jedi tonight almost felt like I was seeing a director's cut of it, like new scenes being popped up there that I didn't see, and some that I didn't like, and others I thoroughly enjoyed. So again, got to sit there, enjoy the film, watch it, hardly any distractions. Of course, I'm not going to go into detail of who's in it. Most people have already talked about it. I've seen countless reviews about it that have really been very interesting, that have analyzed the film in so many different ways, from it being a movie, to it being a social statement of what's going on in the world, to it being pure fantasy, to having more conspiracy theories about the film itself and all this stuff. And so I've been bombarded by that, but I really wanted to kind of form my own thoughts. And I fear that I'm not going to entirely form my own thoughts about this film, because I did see the film when it first came out. I had some major issues about the film. Overall, I liked it at the time, even though terrible things happened to me while watching the film the first time. Luckily, the second time that did not happen. So I realized that a lot of the stuff that's going to be coming out of my mouth in the next few minutes, I don't know how long this video is. This is my last movie review. It might be a really long video, so if you want to stick along with it, I do appreciate it, because I think I have a lot to say, or maybe I don't. I'm kind of conflicted, because I walked away from seeing the movie this time. I will point out, I don't hate this film. I am a huge Star Wars fan. Look at this wonderful, lovely shirt that I have. I love this shirt. I am so thankful for this shirt, and I'm so glad that I got to wear it tonight to see the film tonight. And I was so excited to see The Last Jedi, to the point where I stayed away from the trailers. Except for the first one, I stayed away from all the trailers, and I wanted to have a fresh mind about this, and I probably will do that for the new Solo movie that's coming out in a few months, and I'll probably do that for the episode 9 and the continuation, because I just want to know nothing about these movies before watching it. And so most of the reviews have already come out. Of course, this is now February. The movie has been out for almost 2 months, but I haven't really got a chance to give my official review about it. So this is it. Again, I'm not going to go in detail of who's in it. I'm not going to go in detail what's the plot, because I just really want to talk about how I feel. Okay, I love Star Wars. It has been a part of me. I am as old as Star Wars is. Well, of course, Star Wars was made in 1976, but it came out in 1977, the year I was born. So it's been a part of my life for my whole entire life. And I saw the original trilogy, at least most of it. Most of it I did see again when the special editions came out, and I did watch the prequels. And I've always been a fan. I've collected toys in the past when I was a kid. I've had great t-shirts. Wonderful. I love talking about it with my friends. Never really got dressed up. It wasn't really a religion to me, but I loved it because Star Wars is one of the films, or at least the original trilogy is one of the movie series that ignited my love of cinema. Why I'm talking today about cinema. So it's, even though I, in the scheme of life, in the scheme of what's going on in the world, it's not that important. I realize that. I understand that, but somehow it's important to me, at least as mythology, as storytelling. And I think Star Wars is definitely one of the greatest stories in the history of stories in the world. And I love it. So I had a lot of excitement to see The Last Jedi. I didn't know much about it. I sat down there, I watched it. I had a terrible time the first time watching, as I said before. But this new time, feeling like I was, even though I knew what was going to happen most of the time, I felt like, because there wasn't that many distractions, I felt like I could sit there and just watch the film and just appreciate it and look at the things I didn't like and look at the things that I did love and try and find some hope in this very mixed up, polarizing film that has people either loving this film or hating this film. I'm not in the love department, and I'm not in the hate department, and I'm not like kind of in the middle. I'm in like, I like the film. And even watching it tonight, I have to say, I like the film. It has good pacing. It's a long movie, but I found myself just enjoying the experience. Not all the comedy hit, not all the plot points hit, not all the characters. I should point out that I know most people have seen the film already, so I'm definitely going to, from this beyond this point on, I'm going to spoil things. So this has turned into a spoiler review because I feel like I really need to talk about things that I do love about this film. I do like about this film, and there are things that I absolutely hate about this film. I appreciate that Rian Johnson has taken the series into a new direction. I really do appreciate it. I think he is a talented filmmaker. Looper is one of my favorite science fiction movies ever. And I've enjoyed his other films. Brick is nice, and the other one, I forgot what the other one's called, The Brothers Bloom, I think. I like that one too. So I was very excited that Rian Johnson was taking on this movie. But what really worries about this is that he is such a talented director, and I guess he convinced Kathleen Kennedy, the producer, to give him full control of this movie. And I would have liked if he didn't have full control of this movie like George Lucas did with the prequels. I like the prequels, but this movie is no near the awfulness that is the prequels. The prequels do have a lot to offer, and I like Phantom Menace. I really enjoy Revenge of the Sith, but I think this movie is not as bad as probably the worst Star Wars movie, which is Attack of the Clones. Anyways, moving back to The Last Jedi. So I would have liked if Rian Johnson worked with somebody, even J.J. Abrams. They could have worked together. Maybe they did, but I would have liked if they would have got, on The Force Awakens. Yes, that movie is fan service, and I am a fan, so I enjoyed all the fan service, but I enjoyed the story and the introduction to these interesting characters. I always wondered, like, okay, hopefully they give all this great build-up, and then they'll hopefully explain stuff as the series goes along. That's what I had a hope for, and I enjoyed what J.J. Abrams did to the series. He's really great at bringing the nostalgia out, and also bringing this interesting, fun characters, and making a fun movie overall, and I overall enjoyed The Force Awakens, and probably would give that a solid 3.5 stars out of 4. So going into this movie, you know, you have all this buildup. We've had 40 years of buildup. We've had all this excitement. We're going to get to see Luke Skywalker on the screen. You know, we did get a little taste of him in the beginning of the film, the end of the film of The Last Force Awakens. And now we're going to get to see him go on this adventure. He's going to deal with Princess Leia. We get to see Carrie Fisher in her final performance. Big fan of Carrie Fisher. Was excited to see what was going to happen with her character and just see this new adventure. I like Poe, I liked Rey, I like Finn. And again, I was excited that I think Rian Johnson was going to give us something different. And boy, did he really try to give us something different. Yeah, there are shadows of Empire Strikes Back, and you know, the best Empire Strikes Back is the greatest Star Wars movie ever made, and I don't know if any other film will ever top that in the Star Wars universe. We'll have to see. I really think it's the best film. So there's hints upon that, there's story elements upon that, but I really feel like The Last Jedi, as much as I don't love it, really tried to be a different kind of movie. Not as much as Rogue One. I think Rogue One is a Star Wars movie, but a different kind of Star Wars movie that really took the series in a really interesting direction. But with this new one, I think Rian Johnson did a somewhat successful job at trying to make a different kind of Star Wars movie, to the point where there are things that I love and there's things that I hate. So I don't know how I'll go about this. Maybe I'll just try and get the hate out of the way so I can focus on the love that I have for The Last Jedi. I even hate using the word hate, so I'm going to just use I don't like. I don't like the introduction to Luke in this film when he gets the lightsaber for the first time and he just chucks it over. It just felt like it was just a big, huge middle finger to the audience, to the fans who appreciated this film for a long time, and I just did not like that. It was just like, it was the first sign. I remember seeing it for the first time. You know, I knew it was coming up this time, but it's something I just do not like. I wish it was handled in a different way. We could have done something better when it comes to Luke and what he's going through. It could have been handled better. And then he kind of runs around the place and he's, you know, getting the blue milk, so we find out where the blue milk is from, and I'm like, I mean, is this supposed to be funny? I don't know. I mean, the humor just doesn't work, and I just, you know, I enjoyed the beginning, this amazing action sequence and stuff like that. It felt like Star Wars and all that stuff, and it felt a little new as well. But I just didn't like the direction that it goes to as we get to see Rey and Luke hang out together and a lot of that stuff. Some of it worked and some of it didn't, but I just don't like the initial introduction to Luke Skywalker. Again, as he was throwing away the lightsaber, I felt like he was just throwing away everything and just did not care about the fans, and he didn't care about the mythology, and he just didn't care at all, and I just felt like it could have been handled a little better. I mean, it could have been like the same kind of stuff going on, but just handled in a different way. I was excited to see Finn on the screen and everything, and then when he meets Rose, I despised the character Rose. I think she is the Jar Jar Binks of this franchise. I'm not looking forward to seeing her and her adventure. She does survive. Sadly, she survives this film. And we'll probably see more of her in the next movie, and I'm not looking forward to her at all. I don't know how they can redeem her character. Everything that she goes through in this movie, everything that she does with Finn on the planet, on the Las Vegas planet, I didn't like any of that. When they saved the animals, I thought that was forced. And when they meet Benicio del Toro, who's a complete waste in this film, I did not like Benicio del Toro, and I love Benicio del Toro, but I did not like Benicio del Toro in his character, just a throwaway character. A tear dropped out of my eye when Princess Leia gets sucked out of the ship. Sucked out of the ship. I was like, wow, what a way to say goodbye to Princess Leia. You know, Carrie Fisher passed away, and we know that she can't come back in any way, even though she does survive this film. But I thought that was a really kind of shocking and an amazing way to end her her character story. But then she has the Force and she sucks herself back into the ship, and that's when the movie kind of lost me again. So I wish she would have just had a nice, great, wonderful kind of surprise death, because Carrie Fisher is no longer with us, and I would have liked that. Even though there are some nice scenes that happen after that happened with her and Luke that I did like. I got a little emotional because nostalgia and member berries and the music, the wonderful music from John Williams. I just don't like, because then because of that, Leia comes back. We get the second terrible character in the film, played by Laura Dern, and I like Laura Dern as an actress, but I hate her. I dislike her character and what her character stands for and what her character does in the film. Except for the awesome scene. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie, where the movie goes completely silent, and it's an amazing scene. It reminded me, oh yeah, this is a Rian Johnson film. He had a moment like this in Looper that where the sound went out, and this amazing scene, the audience goes, oh! I mean, they even did in this film, and the movie's been out for almost 2 months, and I don't know if some people haven't seen the movie yet. I mean, even my mom, who's sitting next to me, I don't know if I mentioned this, I did take my mom. I can't remember, it's saying so much. She even reacted to that sequence, and I, inside, it was flutters above, butterflies. It was like, that is so cool. But then that raises questions, when you think about it later, you're like, well, why couldn't they have just done that every time, or even in the original trilogy, if it's so easy just to do something like that? Like, oh, the bad guys are following us, let's make a big ship and just throw it and shove it right into their faces. What else do I not, what happens to Snoke? I mean, Snoke has been given this great build-up, okay, and in The Force Awakens, and he's a very interesting villain. I like Kylo Ren. I kind of interested what happens to Kylo Ren and Rey in this film, and their relationship. I find it somewhat interesting. But what happens to Snoke in this movie is like, hey, we build up this Snoke character. Isn't he cool? Doesn't he remind you of something? Hopefully he's going to be some interesting bad villain, and you should care about him. But then we're just going to kill him and tell you that, yeah, he's nothing. I was upset with that, even though it was a cool sequence, or how it's kind of silly when you think of. Again, it's another thing where you're watching it and that's cool, that's awesome, and then you think about it and you're like, that doesn't make any sense, and it's so silly and goofy. But I do like how the sword goes into Rey's hand. It's just an awesome moment, and they have this nice, great Star Wars fight sequence, which is kind of cool. But then it leaves you thinking, well, now I guess we have the Gleason guy character, and he's a bad guy, and we have now that Andy Serkis, the greatest actor living, is now dead, we do have Kylo Ren, and I guess he's the bad guy. He's officially the bad guy now, and all this stuff. And I never thought he was a very strong character or that interesting. Kind of a whiner, kind of a snowflake. Just someone that get easily offended by everything and just likes to slash around or something. And now he's the bad guy and stuff like that. And I guess that's whatever. And then we got so much great build-up with Rey. We've gotten so much wonderful. She's done so many amazing things, even though it's not really explained how she knew how to fly the Millennium Falcon or wield a lightsaber or any of that. But she can do that, and so. If the character was awful, if I didn't like the character of Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, I would probably be more upset about that. But I figure maybe as the trilogy goes along, we'll learn more about her life. But then in this movie, we find out, well, is it a lie? Is it a lie from Kylo Ren? Is it a lie that he has told Rey that her parents were nobodies? I hope it's a lie. I would hope that it rises up in the 9th film and we find out they were somebody. They were tied to this family. I mean, this is not the first Star Wars. Maybe if this was the first Star Wars movie, they could get away with that. But there's so much history that has happened. So much things that were somewhat important in this universe. And suddenly you just give us this character. It's like the Immaculate Conception. Bing! You can ride the Millennium Falcon. Bing! You can lead a lightsaber. Bing! You can match up with the most intense, evil, dark side Snoke guy. Bing, 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 bing. You have instant power, and we're not going to really explain because you are just this character because it's convenient to the story. So I do not like that at all. So I don't know if there's anything that I really, I mean, I had so many ideas as I was watching it, and there's other things that I'm quite upset about, and you may bring them up in the comments. If you're still watching this video, thank you. You may bring them up to the comments, and I would appreciate it. So yeah, I will say the movie does not drag. Yes, there are moments where I'm like, wow, this is awesome, this is amazing, I'm so into it, and then Rose shows up. Then this is awesome, this is amazing, and then Laura Dern shows up. This is awesome, and this is amazing, and then Snoke dies, and this is awesome, and this is amazing, and then something else happens that I just can't remember happens. So there are more awesome things in this film than there are things that I really did not like. But overall, I think Star Wars is really something I do care about. I know it's just a movie. I know there's more important things going on in the world, but it's something I do care about. So I hold it dear to my heart, you know? And so the things that bother me in this film really bother me. And there's probably more things, and maybe I'll bring them up as this review goes along. And I really appreciate if you're still sticking with it. I appreciate it because I feel like I did have a lot to say. The things that I did enjoy about this film, John Williams' music, of course. John Williams, wonderful music. The new score, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's nominated for an Oscar. I don't know why. The new score is okay, but all the good stuff that he created with The Force Awakens and the original trilogy. And I love when the Yoda theme comes on, and I know that's fan service, and I don't know how justified it is to being in there, but I just love seeing Yoda, because in my opinion, John Williams' theme, Yoda theme, is the best Star Wars theme. That's my thoughts on that. And so seeing Yoda, and he's a puppet, and he's voiced by Frank Oz, and I'm all sweaty, sorry. Tears coming down my face because it's like, it's Yoda, and I love Yoda. I love Yoda. And I love the music to Yoda, and it's just nice seeing him in the film, even though I don't know if it's really necessary for him to be in the film. I like Rey. I care about her character. I like her journey, even though I felt like it really went nowhere or any direction, and maybe, hopefully, it'll make sense in the next film. I like Finn, except for the forced relationship that he has with Rose, because Rose is just not a great character at all of the film, and that forced kiss at the end really upset me. I would have liked if Finn or Rose... I don't know if the movie would have been redeemed if Rose like sacrificed herself in the film, but the fact that Finn was about to sacrifice the film, and I was very excited about that, and then the hate came in, and Rose came in and saved his life, and then they kissed, and I just was like, no, I don't like that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It feels forced. It's as bad as a relationship of Anakin Skywalker and Queen Amidala. Is that her name? Padme? Gosh, I forget. Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman's character in the original trilogy. So that it was just as bad as that. But I'm trying to stuff that. I mean, I love the visuals. I love the sequence where Laura Dern kind of redeems her character just for a few seconds, and it's this awesome silent sequence. I do love the pacing. The movie does. It just keeps on. It's a film that keeps on moving. And it is somewhat interesting. I've kind of settled into what the movie's actually about. At first, I was a little shocked, but seeing it the second time, I kind of settled into the story, and I kind of got into it more and more. And there were more scenes that I did enjoy. Sadly, I can't really tell you what they were. I'm more focused on the stuff I didn't like. I mean, that was so weird, you know? I'm more focused on the stuff that kind of upset me than the stuff that I actually really enjoyed. Because I'm watching like, oh, that's a cool scene, and that's a cool scene, and that's a cool scene, and I really like that. And even though I knew, this is where I'm going to the end of the film now, where Luke shows up, and he sits down there with Princess Leia, and Luke and Leia are just sitting there talking, and you have the wonderful John Williams thing. Maybe this is the John Williams thing that kind of really saved the movie and the wonderful visuals. But you got Luke and Leia talking, and the Luke and Leia thing comes up, and it's really sweet and nice, and a tear dropped out of my eye. And then it's a really cool sequence when Luke goes out there and fights Kylo Ren, even though when Luke shows up at the end and he's got, because you see Luke and he's all white hair and it's all messy, but when Luke shows up and his hair is perfectly clean, he's got a nice brown beard, brown hair, and it's clean. I was like, oh, he's not there. I knew from that point he was not there. So that whole sequence didn't have any power over me, but it was still cool to watch. And I like the interaction between Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker. I like the journey that Poe goes on in this movie. I kind of do, because I do like Oscar Isaac as Poe, even though there's so many moments in this movie where there's no payoff, or it doesn't work out, and maybe that was what Ryan's intentions was. Like, oh, you know, we see all these Star Wars movies where they always win, and now we're going to show you where they lose a lot. So interesting direction to take. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and I do like Poe in this film. I don't like his interactions with a lot of the cast members in this movie, and we get to see a little bit of R2-D2 and C-3PO, but then they're kind of just thrown to the wayside. BB-8 has a lot of nice scenes. I will say BB-8 has a lot of wonderful scenes. What else? I know I'm probably going to forget some things that I wanted to address. Even Lupita Nyong'o is kind of thrown away too, just like one scene. And also, another thing that I don't like is that you threw her away in the first film, The Force Awakens, and now you've thrown her away in this film. Captain Phasma, she was just another pointless character that really went nowhere, and it was kind of a shame. And I don't know, I mean, this movie is a mess. It's definitely a mess. It's something I understand why people hate it. I don't understand why people love it unless they just love anything You plant anything on Star Wars and you're going to love it. I'm not that way. I do have appreciation for Star Wars, and as a Star Wars fan, I like the film, and as a critic, I like the film. I think it's still a well-made movie with a lot to offer, but Rian Johnson had too much control of this movie, and I think it really hurt the film. He's a talented director, no doubt about it. The costumes are great. The special effects is wonderful. All the production design is downright perfect. But in the end, it's a story that's really weak, and character development that is just downright horrible, especially with characters that we do love. And there's characters that I love that they go in a direction that I don't love. Or there's the new characters that I think are all complete waste. You know, all these new characters that kind of die in the movie. Except for Rose. I really, she just doesn't offer anything interesting in the film, and I just don't like anything she does, her character, what she does in the film. It doesn't add anything. It just takes away a lot from what could have been an awesome movie. I think there's a real awesome movie. And just like Phantom Menace, there's a cut out there, I believe, I've never seen it, where there is no Jar Jar Binks. And I would love to see the Last Jedi cut where there is no Rose. I figure someone talented out there can figure it out and make that film. I don't know if I want to take more of your time. This review is almost gone for 30 minutes. But I will say, I've said a lot of negative things about this film. And I did have a lot of these feelings the first time I saw it, even though I went through some terrible things watching the first time I saw the film with my friends. And those really haven't changed. But I did walk away from watching this movie and thinking, there's a lot of stuff they did get right. I'm sorry I have not pointed out much in this review. But watching it, I was like, I enjoyed the experience of watching it. It was just very interesting. It wasn't a boring film at all. It's mismanaged. It's kind of messy in parts. There are things that I wish were not in the film at all. But then I was watching the film, and I did find some enjoyment from it. And I did see myself smile a few times. And maybe it's just nostalgia, and it's fan service scenes that really won me over. Just the idea that it is Star Wars. Again, this is, in my opinion, this isn't the worst Star Wars movie ever made, like some people might say. It's just a different kind of one. And I don't know where the Star Wars direction is headed. I don't know what J.J. Abrams has in mind. I don't know if he can take all these bad ideas and make them better ideas in the next film. But I do see myself, sitting down one day and watching all these three films together. I think this new trilogy so far is a good one. It's not a great one. And I think we've already been prepared that Star Wars, though we love it and everything, can make serious mistakes. The original trilogy, in my opinion, is perfect. The prequels is not. So we've already gone to the fact that Star Wars is not something that is perfect. It is great, it is wonderful, it has blessed our lives. In a sense, as a movie, it is fun. We get a chance to take a break from what's going on in the world and enjoy and be completely entertained and be taken away, and that's what it's done. And I think this new trilogy so far has done a good job at doing that. I hope that maybe we can get some better films in the future that can bring it back to what Star Wars is all about, make some really strong characters, interesting characters, both good and bad. As for what's in the future, Solo, I have to say I have no excitement for it. I'm not even going to watch the trailers. I'll just sit down there and I'll watch it. I'll just sit there and watch it and pray that it's something interesting. And as for the next trilogy that's coming up, I will just wait until the movie comes out itself, and I will sit there and watch it and let it hopefully make me feel a little bit better from watching this slightly mess of a movie. There's a lot that's in this movie. I think technically it is a very interesting film, and it does move, and it is interesting overall, but there's a lot of stuff that kind of gets in the way and bogs it down, that brings it into, just in my opinion, a solid, good movie. I wish it could have been better than The Force Awakens. I wish it could have been up there with my feelings with Empire Strikes Back, but it's just not. It's a film that it's a film that definitely tries something new. Doesn't succeed all the time, but I give it a lot of credit for at least trying to be something different. I don't know if it succeeded. I just wish maybe more people were in control of this movie than just one person. So I feel like just Rian Johnson was just like, you go make your Star Wars movie, man, and people will go see it because it says Star Wars on it. And people have seen it, and I think people either love it or they don't. But I think most people will like it, like me, and enjoy it, and ready to move on and see what the next chapter is. I'm very excited to see where it goes and see how they can resurrect what I've just witnessed, and see if they can actually explain some things. Maybe give us some answers. It would be nice. It'd be fun. You know, we work hard. We want to give you our money, Disney. We want to give you our time. We're here. Give us something to care about again, please. That's all I ask. I think that's all I have to say on the matter that I can think of. It's been a fun review to do. I don't know how much fun it has been to watch it, but it has been a fun review to talk about my love of cinema. And I will continue to do that. But let's give a quick little rating to The Last Jedi, Star Wars, Episode 8, The Last Jedi. I will give it a kind, solid 3 stars out of 4. Okay, so I'm not really going anywhere when it comes to YouTube channel, but I'm not going to be doing consistent movie reviews every time I go to the movies. But I will still have a presence here, as I said before, on my YouTube channel, and I appreciate all the people that have subscribed to me, that watched me, that liked me, that disliked me, that argued with me, that all that stuff, and I hope you will continue on to do that. I really appreciate all the fun I've had over the last 6 years, and from time to time I'll put out videos, whether they're Blu-ray updates, or maybe I'll talk about a classic film that I saw in the theaters or saw with some friends. I was talking with a friend today about maybe seeing a movie, or talking about a movie I love and he hates, or talking about a movie that he loves and I hate, and we discuss it and our feelings about the film. I think that maybe something that I can do. But as for movie reviews that I see in the theaters consistently, this is the last one, The Last Jedi. Maybe I'll have a review for some big films this year coming out in 2018. I do not know. We'll see. Again, there's more important things going on in my personal life that I really want to be there for emotionally and physically, and I want to be a part of that. And so I will be here on YouTube, and please always come by and say hello and share your opinions about movies. I really want to hear that. And I will be here once in a while to talk to you, and we can have a nice, wonderful discussion about our love of the movies. All right, everyone, thank you again so much for watching. Again, this is just my thoughts on The Last Jedi, Star Wars. In the comment box below, let me know what you thought of the film. If you loved it, if you liked it, if you hated it. I want to hear it all. All right, everyone. Bye. I don't know if I have anything else to say. I appreciate you all and thankful for you all. And I will see you soon at my next video, because I know I'll still make YouTube videos from time to time. Some people watch it, but we live film. Bye, everyone. MovieManCHAD saying goodbye. MovieManCHAD saying hello. MovieManCHAD saying good night. Bye.